There are many things going on in the world right now that may make you feel scared or uncertain or both. And I don't normally talk about things that are going on in the world around us, only because I know at the beginning of 2020, when we were going through a lot of things at that time also, it was very hard to listen and sometimes even triggering, especially when I was sick with the very thing they kept talking about. And ultimately, as part of my recovery, I had to turn off the news. And during that time, I started tea time as a way to take a break from everything that was going on and enjoy just a few minutes of tuning out. And in that spirit, I found an article that I will link below that had tips on how to deal with an uncertain world. It was written in 2020. But 2 years later, the tips are still helpful. So one thing you can do is to take action over the things that you can control. And for these circumstances, that may mean donating to a charity such as UNICEF that can use your donations to help children in war-torn areas. You can manage stress and anxiety. They give some good tips on this, such as moving your body, connecting with others, making time for relaxation, and even speaking to a therapist if needed. And sometimes for me, that meant dancing to the oldies with Richard Simmons, or making myself a nice, beautiful cup of tea, and some kind of little sweet treat to go along with it. You can reconstruct routines and rituals. This could be making yourself a nice cup of tea in the evening and curling up with a nice, light favorite book. And lastly, in the words of Viktor Frankl, who said the meaning of life is to give life meaning, this could be spiritual practices, religion, or volunteering in your community, because while we may not be able to help on a global scale, we can certainly lend a hand in our local one. And now let's take just a few minutes to make something very tasty and enjoy a good cookbook and a cup of tea. This is actually one of my favorite tea time cookbooks that I've ever purchased. I love the layout of the cookbook. It has pictures of some very interesting artifacts, and I also really like the recipes. So far, each one has tasted really good and been pretty easy to make. So let's go ahead and put the kettle on and gather up the rest of our ingredients. We only need 4 things for today's recipe, which makes it great for a quick little snack. And I probably don't need to be eating this much cheese, but sometimes I just can't help myself. We'll start off by adding our chopped artichokes, then we'll add our mayonnaise, lastly our garlic, and we're going to stir all of that together. Sometimes the simplest recipes are the best one, and this turned out to be no exception. And now all we have to do is grate our cheese. Now you can go ahead and buy this pre-shredded so you won't even have to do this step. And once you have enough, we'll gather it up and we'll put it in the bowl. Now you give that a really good stir. And you can serve this with little Melba toast or crackers. And you'll see later that since I already had some crackers, I decided to go ahead and use that instead of buying something new. And now I am really excited to show this new little gadget I got. A subscriber sent this to me and I am so thankful and was so happy when I got this. Now, this subscriber wanted to remain anonymous, so I will not give their name here. This is a great way to steep your loose teas. And I just so happen to have some from our local store, the Blessed Bee, that's located right here in Greenville. The owner of the store grows all of her own herbs, dries them, and makes her own proprietary blends. The Midnight in Paris smells particularly wonderful. And all you have to do is add however much loose tea that you want to make into your cup. Pour in your boiling water and let it steep for however long the loose tea needs. I just love the look of the tea floating in this cup. And since we have about 5 minutes for that to steep, let's go ahead and make our plate. So I put a little bit of the dip in a little cup on my plate and then surrounded it with some really good sweet potato flaxseed crackers. And once the tea is ready, all you have to do is place it on the rim of your cup and it will pour through the bottom through the strainer, leaving the loose tea inside. I absolutely loved this little gadget. The dip was so good, and the tea from the Blessed Bee was excellent. And thank you again to the subscriber who sent me this, because I truly, truly appreciate it. So enjoy your tea, and I'll see you next time. And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.